I remember how I was beyond excited when I opened Elden Ring for the first time and saw the main screen menu with its glorious soundtrack. The expectations were there, and oh boy did this game lived up and went beyond them. The whole journey from beginning to the end was truly something amazing. So much so that by the time I killed Elden Beast and saw the end screen text pop up, I felt sentimental enough to wipe off some many tears, not gonna lie. But if you are a fan of those types of games, you know you didn't really finish the game until you beat it a couple more times. So I replayed Elden Ring again, and by the time I finished the game third time, I felt this irritating feeling that something was different. Don't get me wrong, this game's replayability is miles better than most of the games we got recently, but with FromSoftware you have certain expectations. It took me some time to realize that replaying this game just wasn't as fun as it was with previous games. After carefully thinking through it, I came up with 4 main reasons why Elden Ring's replayability falls short compared to the other titles, mainly its predecessor, Dark Souls 3. I will quickly drop a small disclaimer here that these reasons that I will list here are primarily problems I have while replaying the game. Playing and exploring Elden Ring for the first time is exciting, and the game is certainly worth your money for that first time amazing experience the game gives you. Speaking of my problems with the game, reason number 1, open world and map design. Diving into the beautiful and content-rich world of the Elden Ring is a blast for the newcomers. However, it quickly loses its uniqueness in the New Game Plus. Once you have been and explored every inch of the world, going through it over and over again just to reach some boss can be a certain pain in us for some of us, mainly me. I really like fighting Lich Dragon Fortisax and Astel Naturaborn of the Void, but the work I have to do just to reach them is just too tedious. While on the other hand, the DLC bosses of Dark Souls 3, who are arguably the strongest bosses within the game, can be accessed mid-game with fairly easy layout of the map, which gets you to them really quickly and easily. Elden Ring is sadly not like that. Take Malenia, Blade of Miquella for example. First, you have to find 2 parts of the secret medallion. One is fairly easy to get at the beginning of the game, while the other requires going all the way to the top of the map to fight another secret boss and get second part of the medallion there. Then you go back to the lift, use medallion there, and go into the secret snow area where you can't see shit because of the snow, and from there you have to reach another maze. Find secret entrance there, light 3 candles where 1-shot 1-kill unseen assassin and 3 eagle-eyed snipers are gunning down for you. Go down to the helix tree, which is infested with ants that specifically try to push you off the tree instead of attacking you just to fuck with you. Then you have to go back all the way to another rescue in the tree sentinel boss fight, unlock new area, go through the shitstorm there, and only then you can fight Malenia. Do you see what I mean? While fun for the first time, going through it over and over again in New Game Plus is tiresome and exhausting. Reason number 2 is exploration. I would honestly pair this up with the first reason, but in the end I decided to talk about it separately. Like I said, exploring and uncovering secret dungeons and areas for the first time is exciting, but it quickly loses its charm while replaying the game. Honestly speaking, after experiencing all of the dungeons, you don't have to visit them all over again unless you are looking for some specific spell or the item. And the fact that most of the bosses at the end of the dungeons are the reskinned versions of some of the mobs we already encountered and have almost inconsequential number of ruins once you defeat them just kills the motivation and the mood to try and explore them all over again. It just honestly feels like a distraction from the main road to the boss fights. Reason number 3, multiplayer. While not exactly what defines New Game Plus experience, we all know multiplayer is another fun part of Sourceborne games that keeps it alive and active even years after the original release date, as was the case with Dark Souls 1, 2 and 3. I will be honest and say that I wasn't really big fan of Elden Ring multiplayer. Sure, duels can be great if opponent does not spam some infuriating spells and Ashes of War such as Rivers of Blood or Stars of Ruin, but my main problem is invasions in this game. As you guys know, in Dark Souls games you could invade somebody's game and try pretty much ruin their progression, or just act as an onlooker and watch from the distance as the host is getting bodied by the mobs. It was and still is pretty much popular mechanic that a lot of players loved and enjoyed about the games, including me. Now invading is a bit different in Elden Ring. You can only invade players that are playing co-op. This pretty much means that every time you invade someone, you gotta be ready to get ganked non-stop by 2 or 3 players, which can be infuriating if not kinda unfair most of the times. As a guy who loved invading, this change they introduced here completely killed my desire to invade anyone, and therefore turns into another reason why I dropped Elden Ring faster than the other Souls games. And finally, reason number 4, the boss fights. What makes Soulsborne games great is unarguably well-made introduction and design of the bosses. Take Dark Souls 3 for example. In my opinion, Dark Souls 3 has best balanced and fair bosses out there. You start off with Yundex Skandir, which is a great boss to introduce to newcomers and teach them how the game works and what they should expect until they slowly progress through the game and reach horde worlds such as Dark Eater Midir and Slave Knight Guile. And even then, those two, who are arguably the toughest bosses within the game, have well-balanced attack patterns where you can spot openings in between attacks and take a chance to get the hit in until you finally win. Elden Ring bosses on the other hand have almost no opening. Almost all of them have insane number of combos in their arsenal or just wide area attacks that hit you no matter how careful you are. The main reason why they are like this is because they are balanced around the idea that player is using summonable spirits. While that's great for the newcomers, for the players like me who usually like to fight bosses solo, it's a living nightmare. Malenia is a full difficult boss fight of the game and arguably the whole Soulsborne franchise. She two-shots you most of the time no matter what level your Viga is, constantly spams her combos with almost no opening, and some of her attacks are almost unavoidable death sentence. It's not a matter of getting good because she's just mechanically difficult for the sake of being difficult. I fought her head-on with no summoned spirits 3 times in 3 separate runs, which took more than 40 tries each to beat her. It was just a miserable experience. Slave Knight Guile is toughest and most difficult boss in Dark Souls 3. Yet as punishable as his hits are, he has pattern you can learn and take advantage of, which in turn creates exciting and thrilling boss fight experience that I enjoy every time I fight him. It is fun fighting Guile because of how well balanced and designed he is, while Malenia is just artificially difficult and not fun at all. At least for me. And if you don't want to fight bosses, what is the point of New Game Plus to begin with? Whatever the case is, that's just how I feel about replayability of Elden Ring. I dropped playing Elden Ring faster than Dark Souls 3, and these are the main reasons as to why. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I really am curious about your personal opinions on this subject, and I will see you guys on the next video. See ya!